Oddity fine! I got a big economic ox, a gin and tonic on the rocks, where angels fear to tread. I say, choose your booze, let's hit the red eye! Think of young Diana Durbin and how she sung on rum and bourbon, or enhance your luncheon hour with a planter's punch and a whiskey sour. If you feel like a wreck, try a horse's neck or a sherry with a cherry in the new finer size. If you don't name your poison, I'll have to get the boys in. The spirit of adventure opens one's eyes.
Men and Jen, welcome back to Chapter 12 of Beating the Heat by
Andrew Joshua Talon.
And this one actually has something written at the top.
Alright.
Let's see. And once again, I must thank my contributor, Friendly Uncle, for his continuing contributions to this fic. Go read his stuff. In addition, I'd like to thank Lucky Stampede for his contributions to this fic in the arena of brainstorming. He was a lot of help.
Alright.
Anyway, moving right along.
From where we left off last time, Meanwhile,
elsewhere on the big-ass ranch inside the castle that resides upon the topmost mountain overlooking the ranch.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the castle is a ranch now.
Yes,
Alright.
Everything's a ranch. The Doctor and Twilight trotted through the last leg of the hallway, which opened into a large round room. Around them were Doric called, "Holy shit, you actually got some architecture references? Hey, now, we're getting into some interesting places." Sorry about that.
He's an architecture student. He can't help it.
I see architecture references and all of a sudden it's like something awakens inside me.
We call him Daedaltheus for a reason.
Yes. If you want, I'll explain it later.
Alright.
Holding up a great glass dome, the sun shone through brightly. Behind the columns was a circular gallery displaying several stained glass windows depicting various scenes of mystery. Woo-hoo! The sun shone gently through each and every one, casting a symphony of colors across the marble floor in between deep shadows.
Wow, it's beautiful.
Twilight murmured. She pressed her face against the Doctor's neck and nuzzled it.
So full of wonder and beauty.
Twilight, the Doctor said warningly. Twilight pouted.
All right.
She lit her horn up with magical energy.
You take one half, I'll take the other.
And scanned the wide room. The Doctor drew a sonic screwdriver and made a sweep with his own, eyes widening as the tool began to make even louder and louder beeps. "Well, we've certainly found something," he said, grinning excitedly. "I'm picking up enormous thalamic disturbance. Definitely the elements from the way it's pulsing. I just have to get closer to fix on it." The Doctor began to trot forward, following the increasing loud beeps. "Goodness, I've never had a reading quite like this before. It's going off the scale." Eyes glued to the screwdriver, he broke into a run, directly into Twilight's room.
Wait a second.
What?
You clever bastard. Never mind. Moving right along.
Doctor quickly jumped back to his hooves and took a few steps away from the red-faced unicorn, smiling as apologetically as he was able. "Oh, well, it looks like I was detecting you there, Twilight. So sorry." He glanced around. "Where's my screwdriver?" "Oh, dear God!" Her face practically glowing crimson, Twilight wordlessly raised her tail and then levitated the instrument over the Doctor. She simply stared at it for a long moment and then very carefully took it between his front hooves and then slipped it back into his pocket.
Not going to keep scanning?
Asked Twilight, forcing a smile. "Well," the Doctor fidgeted, "I'd have to hold it in my mouth." The purple unicorn's left eye twitched dangerously. She turned away from the doctor towards the opposite end of the room.
It doesn't matter!
She said,
I was going to tell you before, or you did that. You shouldn't be able to detect the elements anyway. The vault they're kept in is magically shielded to make them harder to detect.
Then what are we scanning for? The doctor raised an eyebrow, somewhat flummoxed and not liking it.
The vault.
Twilight said wearily. Oh, well, why didn't you say so in the first place? That's right over there. Twilight sighed and rolled her eyes. She turned around.
No. It's got to be behind some kind of disguise spell, and probably a couple barriers too. And it would be disguised, so you have to look for a huge door with a horn-shaped lock.
She trailed off as she stared the direction in which her companion's hoof was pointing, where there did in fact appear to be an enormous vault door. Like that one? The doctor said, with the only faintest trace of smugness. Twilight's pupils dilated.
I can't decide if I'm going to ret you or murder you,
She hissed.
We'll find out together. Oh, that is Spike.
Twilight! Whatever may have happened next never happened because Spike chose the precise moment to come barreling into the room and tackle the unicorn to the floor, hugging her with all of his tiny draconic might. Twilight cried out in surprise and then glee as she returned the embrace.
Spike, you're okay! So are you! Oh my gosh, I was so worried! Help me too. I'm so glad you're alright. I'm glad you're alright too. I'm also choking. Sorry.
The doctor smiled warmly at the display and then turned and nodded to Rarity. She returned the gesture as she walked over, a tired smile on her face.
Ah, Doctor, you're looking well.
Why, thank you, Rarity. You're as ravishing as ever.
Oh, stop.
She giggled. No, said the doctor with a shake of his head. I mean it. You're...
No, really, stop.
said Rarity, fidgeting.
I'm holding myself back as hard as I can, and then you go and compliment me. It's not making things any easier. I wouldn't want Twilight to... I wouldn't want to fight Twilight to fight over you. Let me reread that. I wouldn't want to fight Twilight over you.
Derp.
Mm-hmm.
She smiled at him, but the way her lips drew back put the doctor in mind of some kind of predatory animal. And the way her eyes traveled over his flank tickled something in his hind brain that started screaming for him to run while he still had legs to do it with. He returned the smile as politely as he could, took a few steps away from her. Twilight chose the particular moment to raise back onto her hooves, Spike sitting on her back, glassy look in her eyes.
So, I guess we found it.
She said, gesturing to the vault door.
Now, we just have to figure out how to get inside.
Don't we need the others for that, dear?
Asked Rarity, trotting over the door and running a hoof over it.
Well, we're halfway there.
Drawled Applejack as she walked into the room. On her back, Soarin twisted around until he could see the others and approximated a wave in their general direction. Hey, everybody, he said. What's going on? We appear to be rapidly approaching some manner of conclusion to the day's events, the doctor cheerfully stated. We have located the elements. He gestured to the door. We have several of their holders. Here he motioned towards Twilight and Rarity, and judging by your appearance, we can presume that the princess was correct in saying all roads eventually lead here. So, while we wait for the others to arrive, we need only to get the elements out of the vault so the bearers can vent their excess heat. And then we can all go home.
Ideally.
Yep.
Oh, thank God that's good and horsey, it's almost over.
Said Applejack, sliding off her legs onto the floor with a slight bump inside.
I'm just about ready to chew nails off the fence, and it would be just down it if I could take my mind off of doing it for 2 seconds at least.
Opined Soarin, who just landed on his head.
Not that Plan B was looking all that bad.
Applejack muttered, turning a slightly deeper shade of orange. I just wish some pony to untie me.
want some pony to untie me.
I just want some pony to untie me.
Plenty of time for that sort of thing later.
Said Rarity as cheerfully as she could manage, with her back hooves tapping a steady rhythm on the floor.
For the moment, Twilight, let's get this vault open. Right!
Said Twilight, rubbing her hooves together.
I'll just open up this vault door, which is enchanted to never open at all, unless Princess Celestia herself puts her horn in the lock.
There's a brief pause for comedic effect. What? Said the doctor.
We can't open the vault!
Asked Spike, eyes in a mounting terror.
Why didn't you tell us we couldn't open the vault? You know, Celestia, you probably should have thought of that before you ran into the crowd of 1,000 horny stallions.
Yep.
Well, that's Princess Molestia and Trollestia for you.
Anyway, moving right along.
How are you guys?
Twilight giggled.
So quick to panic. I just said the door wasn't supposed to open unless the princess opened it herself. I never said we couldn't open it.
So it is possible to break into this vault.
Huh.
Which means your design is not entirely foolproof. Whatever. All well and good then?
Said Applejack, waving a hoof at Twilight from the floor.
Get on it.
Right.
Twilight licked her lips as she approached the vault door. Eyes narrowed as she examined it. She rubbed her hooves together, cracked her neck, hopped onto her hind legs, walking into the hole at the center of the door's lock.
Everybody relax.
She said slowly.
I got this.
With a great air of finality, she slipped her horn into the hole.
Okay, that's it.
Applejack stood up.
Son, do your duty.
Can you untie me, Fur?
I said I got this!
Yelled Twilight, frowning. She shifted her neck a little, moving her horn in the lock. It remained quiet. Perhaps if I just turn it to the left and upside down.
There we go!
Okay, moving right along. Said Rarity.
Maybe you should move it in and out.
In
and
and
out.
out and in and out.
That's what a hamburger's all about. Sorry, Mentalgen, I am from California. Oh,
I'm referencing the Who, you asshat!
I know.
In and out. Mama's got a squeeze box. Daddy never sleeps at night.
And the jingle to In-N-Out Burger is In and Out. That's what a hamburger's all about.
Anyway, moving right along.
Sorry, Mentalgen. One of us knows the glory that is In-N-Out, and the other one doesn't.
I'm from a landlocked state, damn it. We don't have In-N-Out Burger here. We have McDonald's. And we don't really think it's better. We got McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's. And Good Times. The only one that's worth eating at is the fucking Good Times. Because they use real beef.
Sorry about that.
Anyway, moving right along.
Okay.
Like this?
Asked Twilight, thrusting her horn in and out of the lock.
Oh, yes.
Spike trembled and slapped his hands over his ears. Rarity gave him an apologetic look.
I don't think that's going to help.
The purple unicorn sighed.
Princess Celestia didn't really move her horn at all. She just kind of...
Twilight closed her eyes and concentrated. A dim magical glow surrounded the base of her horn, and after a moment, a number of clicking noises came from the door. Then everything went quiet again. Twilight sighed and rapped the door with her hoof. The vault remained stubbornly closed.
All right.
She announced, moving her horn and falling back into all fours.
New plan. We hit it really hard until it breaks.
Smash all the things! Anyway,
Oh my goodness, 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 oh my goodness.
a frantically whispering Fluttershy on all fours bound together underneath her. Butter-colored wings, fluttering like a hummingbird, sailed across the room and impacted on the vault door.
What?
What? What? What? I feel like we're missing some context. Anyway, she didn't actually hit the door so much as her body seemed to just smoosh against it, and then slide to the ground in a trembling ball of feathers and fluff. The other parties in the room exchanged expressions of total shock.
Like we are.
What? I think we need to hit a little bit harder than that, said the doctor.
Oh dear.
Fluttershy tumbled upright and buzzed over to a thoroughly flabbergasted Applejack, sweat pouring down the sides of her face, slicking back her mane.
Applejack, oh my, you don't have to help me. Please, I mean, you have to help me. Please, I mean, if you don't mind, that is.
Well, sure, Sugar Cube.
We're missing a reel of film from this movie. We are missing a reel of film. Never mind, said Applejack, putting a comforting arm over the yellow pony's shoulders.
What's wrong?
I need you to bug me in the head until I'm unconscious.
What?
Okay.
Said Fluttershy. Applejack practically jumped away from her, eyes wide.
What? No, I ain't gonna do that. Why in the hell would I do that?
Because your brother's right behind me.
Fluttershy whimpered.
And I can't stop trying to seduce him.
All thought it's fun.
Big Macintosh. Big Macintosh said wearily as he stepped into the room.
I ain't seduced yet.
Oh,
Fluttershy's voice dropped a few octaves.
because I can try harder.
Spike quickly leaped onto Fluttershy's back and threw a gag over her muzzle. Rarity hip-checked the Pegasus to the ground and nearly tied her wings together.
Yeah.
She said as Fluttershy squealed wordlessly at her from the floor.
That's enough of that. Now, how about that door? You know, I don't think we actually were missing a reel of film at all. Like, the context kind of explained itself.
Whatever.
But, yeah. It's like, y'all get clear of it.
Applejack said, pawing at the floor.
I want to buck something. Now's as good a time as any.
No offense, Applejack,
Said Twilight.
but maybe Big Mac should take a crack at it.
Why not both? Nope.
Why not Zoidberg?
Yeah.
Said Big Macintosh. In answer, Applejack snorted and then thundered across the room towards the door, her hooves striking sparks on the tiles as she galloped. At the last second, the Earth Pony stopped, whipping her body around and thrusting backwards with her hindquarters. Bucky McGillicuddy and Kix McGee struck the vault door with a quick, deafening crack. The floor trembled. Fluttershy made a bleeding noise and fainted.
Eh.
Meh.
Alright.
What was it when he made the Senate bah?
Alright.
Applejack slowly put her hooves back on the floor.
Ow.
She managed after a moment, shaking her legs and wincing at the joints crackled.
Well, Operation Use Applejack's pent-up tormented arousal as fuel to buck the doors off its hinges is a bust.
Said Twilight.
Doctor?
I do have to hold it in my...
Are
Twilight snarled. Yes, dear. The doctor pulled out his screwdriver and aimed at the door. Nothing happened.
you sure it's on?
Asked Spike. I do hesitate to point this out. The doctor mumbled around the screwdriver. But if they're going to make the palace's mundane door sonic-proof, as we observed earlier, it only makes sense that the magically closed one would be as well.
Nerds?
What the hell's that?
What the I've never seen that word.
Wait, that's a reference to something. I know it is. I've heard that word before.
Mental Gen, but we are going to Google.
Mental Gen, internet research time.
Rules of card games, nerds. Nerds crossword puzzle answer includes wiki tour. Let's try the definition. Nerds. Slang. Nonsense. Nuts.
Oh, it's a slang term for nuts. Ah, nerds.
I have never heard that word.
I have, muttered Twilight.
Right.
Okay, new plan. Every pony stand back.
Tactical nuke! Incoming! Duty!
Shut up!
Yes, people, I do play Call of Duty. Sue me.
1 was good, 2 was silly.
Yeah.
Every pony did, the doctor muttering something about grapes as he joined them. Light poked her tongue out of her mouth as the horn began to glow. The soft light quickly grew brighter. I can't talk tonight. The soft light quickly grew brighter, and sparks began pulsing off the magical organ.
Okay.
Boing, as the vault was surrounded in violet light.
Twilight?
Said Rarity.
I don't mean to point out the obvious, but that door was enchanted by Princess Celestia, was it not? You're quite formidable yourself, but how are you proposing to break through a barrier conjured by the goddess of the sun?
Oh, I'm not trying to break through the door with magic.
Twilight called back.
I'm just trying to contain the explosion.
What explosion? Asked Soarin very quietly.
I was right, wasn't I?
Scroll down.
The one I'm about to set off by fusing these hydrogen atoms together.
Dear Christ! Hit the deck! Tactical nuke! Incoming!
Twilight answered quickly.
Sorry, that's the tactical nuke alarm.
Twilight answered cheerfully. The doctor's jaw hit the floor.
What? I made a joke, and I was right.
Proceeding.
Well, no, I have to make this reference. Well, somebody better pick up that phone! Because I fucking called it! Meanwhile... I said that already.
No, you didn't.
Okay, fine. What?
Meanwhile, elsewhere in the castle on the ranch. Did you hear something? Asked Luscombe, ears flicking as he glanced around his spies.
No!
Moaned Celestia. Must have been my imagination then. Luscombe said cheerfully, going back to what he'd been doing. That being the princess!
Ow!
Meanwhile, back at the vault containing the... Jesus Christ. Thermonuclear explosion on the fucking ranch!
What? Twilight, what part of you actually thought this was a good idea?
Continuing,
Well,
said Twilight, grinning.
I feel a little better. How is every pony? No body parts missing?
Soon the world will know about the might of Dr. Insano! Anyway,
He's like, just my sanity.
second, said Spike very quietly.
What?
For perhaps the first time in her life, Rarity found it almost impossible to form words.
What just happened?
Thermonuclear reaction, said the doctor, still staring straight ahead. Released about 0.04 terajoules. A small crazed grin came into his face. Very impressive. I hope the princess doesn't mind about the windows, said Soarin, grimacing at the enormous cracks in the stained glass.
I imagine she'll understand if it was a matter of I'm sorry, Mentalgen. I imagine she'll understand if it was a matter of urgency. You mean like a world-ending orgy?
Said Applejack.
Too bad it didn't work.
Damn it! Added Big Mac. Said Fluttershy.
How the hell do you design a vault that can contain a that can withstand a thermonuclear explosion?
One word, Mentalgen. Orichalcum. The strongest fictional metal in all of existence. Fuck your adamantium! Fuck your vibranium! Orichalcum's where it's at.
You're the architect. You're the architecture student.
Yeah.
How do you design a vault that can withstand a thermonuclear explosion?
Well, 1, you line it in lead. 2, you bury it about 350 feet underground. And 4, you just pray to God no one detonates anything inside.
All right.
Rough estimates, of course. I've never actually had to design a bunker. or a fallout shelter,
Yet.
or a vault.
Yet.
Then again, given the current political situations going on, fallout might become a real thing. The door seemed a bit more brightly polished than it had been a few moments ago, but aside from this, and a few new cracks in the nearby flooring, it appeared to be entirely unscathed. Twilight scowled, trod over the door, tapping it with the experiment of the hoof. It didn't budge. Are you sure you should be touching that?
Yeah.
Because I'm no expert on this subject, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, you're all dead now. You're all fucked. As soon as she releases... Fuck, the gamma rays already cooked your organs. We're all... This is a... Never mind. What? What?
Never mind.
We're doomed.
She sighed. Oh, more than you can imagine, gloated a familiar voice. All eyes turned to the doorway. The Master. His coiffed hair in disarray and a crazy smile on his face stood next to a blank-looking Trixie. The doctor sighed. Who? Spike said. But he was swiftly interrupted by Twilight.
The Master! The Doctor's arch enemy! Old friend! Ex-cold friend!
I'm not his ex! The Master bellowed furiously.
Trixie really like.
The blue unicorn moaned next to him. The Master twitched. Point is, you want the elements of harmony, don't you? The Master asked. Applejack frowned.
How darnation did you figure that?
Oh, please, he snorted. All 6 of the elements of harmony together, frantically trying to get to a room with a vault. You had to be utterly oblivious as Trixie here to miss that.
Oh yes, protect me more.
Trixie moaned, happily trembling. The Master grimaced. The Doctor sighed. The old hypnosis gag. Time Pony looked over at Twilight and stage whispered to her behind a raised hoof. He was always trying to use this sort of thing for dates. Very rare. Silence! The Master bellowed. I will have the elements of harmony for myself!
But you can't use them without us!
Twilight protested. Bah! I'll find a way around that! The Master scoffed.
Yeah, but what are you gonna do about the fact that you're outnumbered?
Spike said with a smirk.
Yup.
Big Mac said, putting in his 2 cents, meekly patting on the carpet with a hoof. Trixie, you worthless piece of trash. Put them in their places. The Master commanded. The blue unicorn trembled. Moaned, and weird power left her horn, throwing every pony off their hooves and into the wall.
Oof! Ah! Oh my!
Spike poked his head out of the pile of ponies and groaned.
Good answer. Ow.
Every pony!
Quiet managed, pulling herself away from the pile.
Work on getting that thing open! The Doctor and I will handle them! I'm sorry. The Doctor and I will handle them!
Yup.
Said Big Macintosh, charging the vault door. Applejack limped after him, while Spike rushed over and started looking for the hinges to try to melt. Fluttershy and Soarin lay on the floor in a heap of fur, feathers, rope. Wondering what decisions they'd made that had caused their lives to reach this point, Applejack was kind enough to drag them by the vault itself for cover.
I've got an idea!
Yelled Rarity. Rushing over to the vault, she jumped onto Big Mac's back and began thrusting her horn repeatedly into the lock. Twilight watching for a moment before turning back to the Master and Trixie with a weary sigh. I'm not handling him, said the Doctor nervously. He's clingy enough as it is. I am not clingy!
Yeah, no pony's listening to you.
Twilight said with a sigh.
How'd you get Trixie off you anyway? When we left, she was trying to swallow your tonsils.
I merely asserted my superior will over the drooling idiot, replied the Master. It was no great feat, as inferior as her intellect is. Oh, wow. Trixie made an inarticulate groaning noise. Her mouth was hanging open and a thin string of drool was in fact running out of it. And down to the floor. The Master gaped at her with an undisguised disgust and took a few steps away. He probably just put her over an instrument panel until she was reasonably coherent again, commented the Doctor.
I don't know,
Mused Twilight.
as much as I'm sure he wanted to, that doesn't seem like the most expedient option.
For him, very expedient.
Oh, this.
Huh. The master seemed to stare into space for a long moment as if he were looking very hard at nothing in particular. Compared to his previous rants, his expression was now almost unnaturally calm. His left eye twitched over ever so slightly. Trixie noticed that he'd stopped insulting her and poked him very gently with the side of her horn. I don't have to take this anymore, the master announced rather abruptly. Trixie, you're a worthless tart who will never amount to anything. Now go kill Twilight Sparkle.
Ah, yes, Daddy! I'm going to assume Trixie has unresolved family issues.
Yeah.
Moving right along!
Twilight,
This is the final battle, people! I was actually thinking more epic Doctor Who music, but that will do too.
Hey, it's final countdown.
I know. Actually, that or the Final Destination theme from Super Smash Bros. Would work just as well. By the way,
Nah, we're gonna go epic battle. Bayonetta fights Jubileus.
nobody beats the greatest Jubilee. Anyway, moving right along.
Twilight let out a yelp of surprise as she was hurled across the room by Trixie's telekinesis. The drooling unicorn practically skipped after her. Then the master pulled out a tubular device, much like the Doctor's, and pointed at him. There was a loud buzz at the front end of it, lit up like the Doctor's sonic screwdriver. Rather than a blue light, however, the device produced a red one. Ah! The Doctor cried, jumping. Part of the carpet ignited. Laser? Yes, Doctor! A laser screwdriver! The master laughed, firing his weapon repeatedly. The Doctor took cover behind a pillar. So the rest of their group moved behind the vault. Who'd have Sonic? So your big secret weapon is ripping me off, the Doctor taunted. Mate, have you considered a hobby? I mean, aside from trying to kill me and conquer the universe. Or maybe a mere friend. I'm not ripping you off! It's a laser!
It's a laser! It's a laser! It's a laser!
Whatever.
Do you actually know that reference?
What?
Never mind, I'll show you later.
The master growled, firing repeatedly into the sides of the pillar. He galloped around into a pillar three-way from the Doctor, and pointed it around his own cover. The laser beam shot through the air, invisible but hot as fire. The Doctor narrowly dodged it to get to another pillar. What happened to that marvelous weapon of yours? The Doctor asked, poking his hat out. Compressed things, made people die by turning them into dolls. Remember that? It was so original. It's not important. The master tried, but Doctor was on a roll. Oh, I've got a laser. Great for making cats run around. Look at me. I'm the master. I've got a laser screwdriver. And it's not compensating because I have to satisfy Mares with my itty-bitty... That's it, Doctor! You're going down! The master roared, chasing the brown stallion around the gallery. Doctor grinned cheekily back. Poor choice of words. Die! Die! Meanwhile, a few feet away...
Yeah, we're not going to make any ranch puns, because technically this is the same room.
Twilight groaned as she pushed herself upright, shaking her head to clear it. She managed to make her bearings. Back, a silvery blue light appeared around her tail, yanking it upwards. Twilight stared at the inherent magic for a split second, then made a show of rolling her eyes in exasperation.
Oh, that's real mature!
She began. The magic didn't give her any time to finish before it was pulled up harder, yanking Twilight off her feet and leaving her suspended in midair.
Yeah! Oh, this is wonderful! Twilight Sparkle!
Moaned Trixie as she hopped over to the floating unicorn, her face flushed and her tongue lolling out.
Your powder feels so good! Trixie wants more!
I'm glad I can help you feel better about yourself.
Grumbled Twilight, flailing all four of her little hooves in an attempt to dislodge the spell.
But you can't take any more of my magic. You broke your master's machine when you jumped on him, remember?
Oh, Trixie remembers!
Said the blue unicorn huskily. Her eyes glazed over as she started to go into a flashback sequence. Then she shook her head and focused on the half-idled gaze on Twilight.
But that's fine. Trixie is sure there are other ways to get your power, and then the great and powerful Trixie will be completely unstoppable! unstoppable! And then Master will have to make rough love to Trixie and call her a dirty bunny!
Great. Just great. Can this day get any worse?
Twilight asked.
It's like, Geronimo!
The answer she received came from above in the form of a red, blue, yellow, and purple blur that dive-bombed Trixie. The blue unicorn cast a bubble shield spell, and the blur abruptly became Rainbow Dash as she bounced off the barrier.
Rainbow Dash!
Twilight cried.
Don't get us!
Pinkie Pie cried as she and Braeburn galloped into the room. Her grin was cut short as the Master unleashed several laser blasts in their direction, making them seek cover behind the convenient pillars.
Sorry we're late. I got a little preoccupied.
Dash admitted with a grin.
And it totally wasn't because we had a threesome with Braeburn.
Pinkie ducked another shot from the Master. Twilight jumped out of the way from a force blast from Trixie and returned one of her own that the blue unicorn absorbed. Dash tried attacking from above again, leaving her with the magical barrier once more. She flew around the top of the dome, high speed, picking up momentum before diving once again. Grab her, you pathetic slag! The Master shouted as he swung his laser screwdriver around, forcing Twilight to duck and their friends to take cover. Trixie grinned and glowed. She then vanished into a burst of light. Dash gasped just before she slammed to the floor and bounced off, slamming into a stained glass window. Ugh! Twilight gasped and looked around as Dash cried.
Where did she go? I
was blasted into the far wall, slamming against it and slipping down to the floor.
Ugh! You always seem the type to take it hard from behind.
Trixie purred.
Pinkie!
Twilight growled.
What? That was funny!
The pink pony was defensive.
Actually, to her credit, that actually kind of was a little clever.
Yep. Trixie! You bit of a slut! Stop fooling around and finish her off! The Master bellowed.
Couldn't I keep her as my sex pet that we take turns humiliating?
A what?
What?
Trixie whined.
I mean, if that's what you want for the doctor, isn't it?
What? The Master bellowed. No, it isn't! Hey! He swung around to fire the laser screwdriver back at the Doctor, who had failed to sneak up on him. The brown stallion rolled out of the way and produced his own screwdriver. The Master snorted. I didn't take you for a fool, Doctor, but allowing myself to be wrong! He roared, pointing his weapon at the Doctor and firing. Steam erupted in front of him, obscuring the brown stallion.
No!
Twilight cried, her eyes flashing with magical energy.
Doctor!
Twilight cry turned into a question.
Wait, I did that wrong then. Doctor?
Twilight's cry turned into a question as the steam cleared. The Doctor shook his mane and huffed as the Master gaped. The steam! Right, I used my sonic screwdriver to agitate the water vapor in the form of clouds and dissipate the energy of the laser into harmless steam. The Doctor explained cheerfully. Sorry, did I rob you of an explanation? You! The Master growled. The Doctor grinned and smiled over at Twilight. See, 90% of lasers' energy is heat.
So you just need a conduit for the heat to dissipate it away from you.
Twilight completed, grinning.
Of course!
She was blasted off her hooves into another wall.
Pay attention to me!
Attention, whore. Trixie bellowed as she charged to put the nemesis.
Yeah.
The Master snarled and fired his laser again. The clouds of steam issued forth and around the Doctor. He fired again and again and again, but all that happened was obscuring mist became more plentiful. He then felt sharp claws wrapped around his neck and a baby dragon-sized weight settled on his back.
Squeal, little piggy!
Come on, make you squeal like a pig! Spike growled into the pine pony's ear. Ah! Trixie! Trixie, you worthless carnival freak! Help me! The Master shouted. I should have spanked you before! I knew you would fail me! Trixie's pupils dilated. Her horn stood straight up and proud on her forehead. Boing! Gleaming powerfully as her magic aura became engorged. with energy. An ecstatic moan left the blue unicorn's mouth. Words as magic spurted out the horn and formed a long, throbbing beam. Continue.
Do you want some more water?
I'm okay.
Do you want some more water?
I'm fine.
Right. Yes! 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 The power feels so good!
Unlimited power!
This is Trixie. I am Trixie! You
Hey!
hated me for voicing the Doctor! Trixie is mine!
I'm making a reference to Star Wars Episode 3.
But this is Trixie! Trixie is mine!
Oh, shut the fuck up! Trixie wailed as she lowered her head and swept the beam of magic around the room, knocking ponies off the hooves left and right. The master shrieked as the turning spell clocked him upside the head and sent him and Spike tumbling. Doctor peeked out from behind a pillar, used a sonic screwdriver to scan every pony, friend and ally alike. Before galloping over to the stunned Twilight. You all right? Twilight slowly turned to look at the doctor. Her teeth were clenched and her eyes had gone wide, her entire body starting to tremble. Livid purple sparks were falling from the tip of her horn. But she didn't seem to actually be doing any magic with it.
We have a problem.
Twilight panted. Her eyes started to glaze over and her next words came out as a throaty moan.
I think the connection is still active.
Oh, Twilight, focus! Focus! The doctor said quickly. We're nearly there. He looked over the vault, where big Macintosh had recovered and was hard at work bucking into the hinges. You just need to hold out for a little while longer and... snarled Trixie, magical energy radiating off her body. The doctor slowly looked over his shoulder at the approaching Trixie. Oh, hello, the doctor said with a grin. You really don't want to do anything else to her, right? I mean, you've already knocked your rival for a loop and shown her up. Bravo! Good show. Very good show.
Oh yes! The great and powerful Trixie always puts on a good show!
She purred her tail, lashing her flanks as she practically pranced over to them.
But now, Trixie wants to put on a show with Twilight Sparkle. Trixie has just the cutest tack and saddle for her to wear too. Trixie knows Twilight has just the most beautiful voice, so Trixie is going to make her sing and moan and scream Trixie's name!
The doctor stared, looked up at the dome and then back at Twilight. He shook his head furiously inside. I am very sorry about this, Twilight, he said solemnly. I'm so sorry. Turn to Trixie. Twilight blinked.
What are you...
Trixie, please spare Twilight such a horrible fate, the doctor said, pleading with the big brown eyes. Take me in her place.
Oh.
Oh, my.
Oh, shit.
Well, Twilight's eyes narrowed.
Don't you dare!
She growled. Trixie paused her advance, seemed to consider it.
Oh, what do you have to offer Trixie?
No! Doctor, no!
Twilight hissed. I can do amazing things with my screwdriver. Twilight has said herself. The doctor continued. He waggled his eyebrows and grinned. I've got 500 settings for organics alone. It's far, far better than the Master's. His grin gained a certain edge to it.
You mean that thing?
Trixie asked.
Or do you mean...
Yes. Unicorn cocked an eyebrow.
Trixie is intrigued.
She said slowly.
No!
Shut it, Twilight.
No, you're not! That's my screwdriver! The doctor uses it on me! Not on a cheap, stupid, elite floozies!
Well. Trixie twitched and shivered on her hooves, her face twisted in an angry scowl.
Call me that again!
She snarled, breathing heavily.
Call Trixie a floozy one more time, you! You jumped up! No talent! Soft-horned! Virgin!
Well,
We all know that's true.
Twilight's eyes took a harsh, violet glow. The doctor moved behind Twilight as she rose into her hooves via magic alone. Trixie's eyes widened as the purple unicorn's horn began pulsing with magic. For beneath them trembled and bits and pieces of debris began to rise into the air.
I am not a virgin!
Twilight roared, power erupted out of her like a fire hose, surging forward and slamming into Trixie's body. I feel the need to make a reference to something.
Go ahead.
Unlimited power!
I'll allow you that one.
Spike, who had managed to recover from his senses, ran over the doctor as Twilight and Trixie engaged in a terribly furious, magical duel.
Normally, I have just the song for Twilight and Trixie dueling, but I can't play it here.
Yes.
Oh well.
Strange, she objects to the last one. Doctor said. Spike opened his mouth, question on his lips, then thought better of it, and asked another question.
So, your plan is for them to kill each other?
He asked dryly.
That's a terrible plan!
Piggy opined as she emerged from behind a pillar. She giggled as she dashed back and forth between them, popping out behind pillars that she hadn't ducked behind before. The doctor shook his head. Hardly. It's just to keep our last obstacle occupied. I can trust Twilight not to use lethal force, and I don't think Trixie's the type either. Now the master's out cold. He, Pinky, Spike galloped over to the vault. The elements clashed furiously behind them. Big Macintosh, Applejack, Rarity, Fluttershy, Soarin, and Braeburn emerged from behind their hiding spots behind the vault. Fluttershy had managed to untie herself, but Soarin's wings were still bound.
Soarin? How did you get untied?
Spike asked. The Wonderbolt looked over at Applejack, who blushed furiously. He coughed and shook his not important right now.
Definitely not!
Applejack said quickly. She looked in the hinges of the vault and grimaced.
I don't think we can do much more to try and pry him open, Doc. Indeed, we just can't open it up!
Hold on.
What?
No, I'm looking for Ram.
Right here.
Rarity said with a sigh. She eyed Big Macintosh.
Oh, it could be worse. Watch it!
Fluttershy growled. She blinked and blushed.
If you please, Rarity.
What about a sonic rainbow? Maybe that would open it up.
Piggy suggested. The doctor nodded. I believe it might. Now we just need Rainbow Dash too.
Sick. Nobody tries to hurt Twilight and gets away with it!
Dash bellowed. All turned to see Rainbow Dash, as she recovered from an encounter with a stained glass window, flying into a melee between Twilight and Trixie. Didn't last long.
Ah!
Dash was blasting the door of the vault. She tumbled away from it on top of Big Macintosh. She groaned when her eyes opened when they were pointing it in different directions.
Rainbow Dash, are you alright?
Rarity asked.
Wow, you look like Derpy. Or how you would look after talking to Derpy for a while. Or me for a while. Or how me and Derpy look after we talk for a while and...
Pinkie Pie began, but Braeburn shushed her with a kiss.
Thank you!
Spike sighed. Braeburn replied cheerfully as Pinkie Pie returned eagerly. The doctor shined a screwdriver over the blue Pegasus' eyes. He grimaced. Lovely. She's got a concussion from the whiplash.
Don't worry. I can still boom Rainbow.
Dash slurred. She tried to take off from Big Mac's back, but instead her face, meeting rushing air. As it ascended, it met the floor.
Oh!
Wham!
Oh my. Now what?
Fluttershy asked, nuzzling up against Big Macintosh. A crash of thunder went off, and Trixie was sent tumbling into a pillar. Twilight charged, and the two unicorns' horns flashed like swords. Rarity shrugged.
Well, at least it can't get any worse, right?
Pinkie Pie broke the kiss with Braeburn and gasped.
Rarity! You never say that!
Purple-maned unicorn huffed.
Oh, come now. Twilight already said that, and nothing really terrible happened.
Crash! From above, several familiar forms appeared, flying in formation. The shadow bolt Nightshade smirked wickedly.
Is this a private party, or can any pony join?
She asked with a grin. The doctor joined the others in a glaring and a suddenly sheepish rarity.
Oopsie.
The end of chapter 12. Read this. Yeah, this fic is going to be about longer than anticipated. Sorry about the long delay. Health, weather, school, real life was in the way of disrupting one's plans. Oh well, next chapter should be out next week. Stay tuned. And for those of you wondering, yes, Twilight is a virgin. She just denied it on principle.
Dude, her entire character is on the basis of she's a virgin.
Woohoo! Less than an hour! Whee!
Alright.
Anyway,
That was excellent.
well, onwards and upwards!
To the gates of hell!
It's a reference to... Yeah, it's a reference to Pony in a Box.
I know, but I'm referencing Sabaton.
Yeah.
Whatever. Well, people, if you think the final battle is over, oh no, we're not even getting started.
Yep, more fornications to come.
Yep. Next time in Beating the Heat.
Prepare your eardrums for the sweet soothing sounds of fornication.
Oh yes, master! Go Trixie, a dirty whore! Go Trixie, she's useless! Go Trixie! Okay, I'll stop now.
I would scream. Actually, I could. I could scream as the master. Hello, Jen. I want to turn down your volume.
There we go.
Night, everybody!
Good night.